So I've been playing Ash Echoes, and let me tell you, it's got quite a few unique things I haven't personally seen in other gacha games. For example, there's a very cool way to designate any character to become a powerful leader with constantly changing abilities. The combat is a mix of two genres, tower defense and real-time auto battling, and most important of all, the characters actually stand out and have some very fun and distinctive personalities. And so in this video, I am going to showcase everything you need to know about this new upcoming gacha game and also share my thoughts about it. Now, full disclosure, the developers did reach out to me and wanted to sponsor this video, which I'm grateful for, and actually, I've been having a blast trying it out. Okay, so what is Ash Echoes all about? Well, it's sort of like tower defense where you collect characters called Echomancers and use them to fight and move in real time. So there's real-time strategy and action RPG elements in it. Now, I'm never great with the lore, but from what I understand, you as the main character end up in a different but at the same time similar universe. Basically, the realities are clashing with each other. In your previous reality, you were a lowly ranked officer of this organization called Seed, but once you end up in this new reality, everyone from the organization calls you the director and they think you have some kind of amazing powers. But you don't, so you got isekai to a parallel world, but you're still you, which is kinda ironic. And basically, you take on various tasks trying to resolve conflict in this post-apocalyptic world by utilizing the help of the Echomancers, who have become powerful thanks to these mysterious crystals, which have recently emerged in the world. Anyway, let's talk about the gameplay loop. So, you see this terminal, if enemies attack it and it drops down to 0 health, you lose the game. But if you can keep it safe until you accomplish the objective, which is usually just surviving waves of enemies, then you win the game. That's the goal of the game. So it's kind of like tower defense, but instead you're just defending this terminal. Now, onto the gameplay itself. You can select up to 8 characters to defend this terminal. However, only 4 of them can be active on the battlefield. But, and this is something I really like, you can switch between the characters mid-battle by using this backup button. So this means you can adapt to different enemies, or you can even save someone from dying and just switch to a new unit. Now, by default, all your characters will just keep spamming their auto attacks. Some fight ranged, others are melee attackers, and some can tank enemies by holding their attention. Each character has 2 skills. Usually one of them will be active, and when you select it, you can preview the range. So some can deliver big frontal arc blasts, others shoot in a huge column. There's a good variety of different ways to land those skills. And then everyone also has their ultimate called Seed. It will charge up during the battle, and when it's ready, you activate it for some powerful effects, plus a lot of the units have their own cool cutscenes. But one thing I want to emphasize would be the movement. You see, normally a unit just stays in one place and doesn't move around that much. However, you can actually move them while selecting the skill's range, or you don't use the skill and just reposition them. This obviously will put the movement and skills on cooldown, but repositioning is going to be crucial since enemies can come from any direction of the map. Oh, and one more thing about the skills, there's a limit of how many times you can use it in a single battle, so in harder encounters, I actually had to think when I want to activate them, which to me, a scarcity mechanic is always a pretty cool thing to play around. Now, one last thing I want to mention is that there is an elemental system. Basically, a lot of the characters and even some battlefield terrain will allow you to create elemental zones, such as fire, water, ice, and lightning. And then, if you create another zone or land a skill of the next element, a lot of different reactions can happen. For example, if you do lightning with ice, this will create electrolysis reaction, which reduces enemies' attack stat, and this can be done several times. Or if you combine fire with water, then vaporization happens, and if you stand in the vapor, enemies will deal a lot less damage to your units. My favorite one so far is Ice Zone, so if the enemy stands in it, they can become chilled, then frozen. And eventually, if you keep landing more ice attacks on them, you can cause Frostbreak and just literally kill them immediately, which is awesome. And yeah, elemental zones by themselves without reactions still do something. Like if enemy keeps standing in fire zone, they will lose 1% of their HP each second. So yeah, in a nutshell, a lot of moving parts here. You've got the skills, the positioning, the elemental system. There's a lot of things you can generate, such as barriers to absorb ranged attacks, which is pretty cool. And even the terminal itself has abilities, so it doesn't just stand there like a useless tool. For example, it can provide shield to the characters when they drop down below 50% HP. Now, the next and probably the most crucial thing I want to talk about would be the Echoing Nexus game mode. So each time you start any battle, you always have to choose an engraving, or in other words, a leader. Depending on who you choose, they will bring additional stats and unique abilities that apply to the whole team. For example, right now I'm using Luke as my leader. His engraving provides these stats right here, and you can also see what type of abilities he provides. For example, Unstoppable Ground says that whenever anyone's skill attacks fewer than 5 targets, 20% extra damage is dealt to all ground units among them. And as you can see, there's a ton of abilities. Some only work for certain character classes who are in your team, others provide this important Inspire buff, which increases everyone's overall damage. But get this, you actually generate these engravings through the Echoing Nexus game mode. So all of the stats and all of the abilities you see here, every single time you do a run, you can completely change it, because the abilities shown here come from the unit you chose and the memory traces, which is like an artifact or equipment. So each time you start a run in Echoing Nexus, you pick a character and then equip them with 6 memory traces, each of which can provide different stat increases and abilities. And then inside this game mode, every time you will be making choices. For example, you will be asked many times which stat you want to increase, because remember, after the run, all the acquired stat bonuses are saved onto this engraving you just made, and will be applied to the whole team whenever you go into any battle or game mode. And then later on, when you reach the end of Echoing Nexus, depending on how much skill memory you've acquired, you can choose which skills and at what level you want to add to the engraving. And the best part, you can keep building more and more powerful engravings with each run, provided you can beat bosses and enemies along the way. So it's more or less a roguelike mode, but you get to keep the rewards at the end, meaning the stat boosts and the new skills you've acquired can be used for the rest of the game as an engraving for the team. Now, there's a lot going on here when it comes to making choices, and so far I am still learning a lot about the system. But what I do like about the engravings is that it does tell you what rank it is. Right now, the best one I've achieved is B19 with Luke, but I believe you can go all the way to S rank, and you can actually even check out other player engravings for each character to see who has the highest rank on the server and what abilities and stats and memory traces they've used to create the engraving. But moving over, let's talk about the characters. I mean, I love a lot of these designs. My favorite one so far is Luke. He's a delivery courier who uses packages to attack enemies, and he can even summon turrets to deal some crazy damage, or provide a barrier to defend the team. Or, these creatures called Furry and Fernie, they both fight with this big old water cannon and have some hilarious moves. Or how about Tong? Dude just powers through with his chair. Again, just looking at some of these designs, I can really tell the developers are putting emphasis on making sure the characters look and feel distinct. I mean, I was using 4-star units for a while in story mode, and even they felt pretty unique and useful thanks to the elemental system. But yeah, since this is a gacha game, I'm gonna spend a couple of moments to try and see if I can get someone cool from the gacha system, so I can showcase them when I'm talking. Alright, so I'm on this banner here with Laurel. Let's see what I can get from the 10 pull. And there we go, number 2. That is a 6-star character, I believe. And is it Laurel? Yes, it is Laurel. Nice. She is a really cool character who I believe switches between offense and defense stances, and also she's from the corrosion element, which I didn't really talk about much, but I'm just gonna roll some footage of Laurel. And the way corrosion works is that you can build it up by using corrosion element units, and when it reaches 100 here, the terminal releases some kind of a shockwave on the whole battlefield, and the enemies take a percentage of damage. So it's a pretty cool mechanic basically. Alright, now let's try to get an SSR memory trace. But I believe if I can get an SSR, it's gonna have some sort of a live 2D animation, so I'm pretty excited to see it. Let's go for another 10 pull. And there we go, Blood Rubia, Secret. And as you can see, it has live 2D animation, which is really cool. But if we look at the behind the curtains, she's like gazing off of the window. And then this one is kind of my favorite. I mean, it's pretty intense what's happening here, but it's like so cool. But yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to gacha pulls. Okay, so with all of that said and done, I am honestly impressed with the depth of this game. Like, I didn't even mention these systems yet, but basically there's a tea time mode where you can mix drinks for your companions in this special location where they come to visit you, and you can even add your own furniture to spruce up the place. But also there's a seed dome location you can visit and spend some time to research new technologies for the buildings, or put your units into trading rooms to increase their stats. Or you can just check out the bulletin board and leave comments in this fictional world, or read chat messages from other echomancers. Basically, the game has a lot of moving parts, and some really unique things you wouldn't expect to see in a gacha game. Like, seriously, they didn't have to do this, but in this specific story mode chapter, each stage you select corresponds to a piano key, and even emits a sound, so you can literally play the piano from the menu missions. So yeah, I'm pretty hyped to play Ash Echoes when it finally comes out, and I really recommend checking it out, which you can do this by using my link in the description to pre-register to the game. The game is set to go open beta around middle of November this year, and there's already some great pre-registration rewards accumulating, so don't miss out on them and make sure to pre-register to Ash Echoes. Anyway, hope you found this video interesting, and thanks for watching. See you next time.